Mm, mm, hey. Mm-hmm. Mm, mhm. How are you? Hello, friends. Hello, friends, enemies. Oh, unfortunately, I don't have too many friends, too many enemies. That's kind of good. Mm, sometimes friends can turn into enemies. Sometimes enemies can turn into friends. So maybe I should try to gather as many enemies as I can. Then turn them into friends. How's that? So it's February 6th. It's Thursday. Walking the dog. Mhm. Yeah, it's taken too long because I was organizing my books in JPEGs and in PDFs. Books that I've been scanning in using the application Microsoft Office Lens. Ooh, that's a nice poop. Why does he scratch the grass? Okay, so excuse me while I kiss the sky, or while I uh, clean up a little bit. Got a nice little bag here. Mhm. Try to open it. One end open. I'm not sure if I got the right end. Let's see the other end. Mm, mm. Okay. Now I stick my hand in the bag and I grab the poop. And yep, that's part of the walking the dog process. So I guess if you're a dog owner, you have to do that. That's part of taking care of a dog. Or you get someone to do it. Someone, the dog owner got me to do it. But that's okay. It gets me out walking. So let's see. I'd like to share my books. So I go to the screen. So then I think I'm going to I could use gallery. Well, for the pictures, I could use gallery. I think that was one of them. But hmm, go back out. So I should go to the, and this is organized. It's updating. So, okay, yes. Camera book pics lens. Camera book. Uh-oh. Uh, the driver's license shouldn't be there. Well, um, hmm, unintentionally picked that one up. So, into the introduction to the detail. So, see if I can find the one that I want to read. Okay, so, and I should put it in its own folder. Anyway, the importance of the word. So this is from the book by Radha Krishnan called the Bhagavad Gita. I believe he translated it and also commentated on it. And this book is over 100 years old, and it's still very good. It's a good translation, I think, and it's a good commentary, and it's a good introductory essay. So, why does the Gita matter? Hmm. Why does the Bhagavad Gita matter? The Bhagavad Gita is more a religious classic than a philosophical treatise. It is not an esoteric work designed for and understood by the specially initiated, but a popular poem which helps even those who wander in the region of the many invariable. Hmm. It gives utterance to the aspirations of the pilgrims of all sects, of all sects. Those are like religious, differentiated communities who seek to tread the inner way to the city of God. Hmm. We touch reality most deeply where men struggle, fail, and triumph. Millions of Hindus for centuries have found comfort in this great book. Let's look at the footnote. The footnote is longer than the first paragraph, and we haven't even finished the first paragraph. Hmm. The Gita has exercised an influence that extends in early times to China and Japan, and latterly to the lands of the West. What? How can that be? The two chief works of Mahayana Buddhism. What? It influenced Mahayana Buddhism? The Mahayana Radopati, which means awakening of faith in the Mahayana in the Sadharma Pundarika, the lotus of the true law. Hmm. And deeply indebted to the teaching of the Gita. Really? I did not know that. It is interesting to observe that the official exponent of the German faith, J.W. Howard, who was a Sanskrit scholar who served for some years as a missionary in India, gives to the Gita a central place in the German faith. What? How can that be? He calls it a work of imperishable significance. Hmm. He declares that the book gives us not only profound insights that are valid for all times and for all religious life, but but it not only does that, it also contains a as well. It contains as well the classical presentation of one of the most significant phases Indo-Germanic religious history. What? Indo-Germanic religious history? You mean there's an Indo-Germanic religious history? You mean that in the German people have a connection with the Indian people historically? Yes, it shows us the way as regards the essential nature and basal characteristic of Indo-Germanic religion. What? I've never heard of that word, Indo-Germanic religion. Your spirit is at work that belongs to our spirit. He states the central message of the Gita in these words. We are not called to solve the meaning of life, but to find out the deed demanded of us into work, and so by action to master the riddle of life. So he's saying that it's hmm, is it what it's useless to seek the meaning of life. Maybe there's no inherent meaning in life to find, but instead we are called to find what we are supposed to do in life. So to work in. So by action, work as in karma, action. To work in. So by action to master the riddle of life. So there is no meaning in life, but there is a riddle in life. So maybe the riddle has to do with how life works. So the meaning of life might be why. Why is there life? So that seems to be fruitless to find the meaning of life. Instead, find the riddle of life. What are we here for? So that was quoted in the Hibbert Journal, April 1940, page 341. Mhm. Wait a minute. Did I lie to you? I said this was over 100 years old. Well, not quite. I think there was a first edition of this book around 1910. So maybe he got down to writing several, or they published several editions because this footnote talks about a journal from 1940. So he must have revised something. Maybe the essential part of it was done by around 1910s and put out, but then he went over and in the following editions and I'm speculating. I'd have to look at the first few pages of the book, but right now I don't think I have them handily. But anyway, so let's continue with this footnote that's pretty interesting. The Gita, however, bases its message of action on a philosophy of life. Mhm. A philosophy of life, as in how to live the life most effectively, I would say. Mhm. It requires us to know the meaning of life before we engage in action. Oh, wait. So this is contradicting what was said by the, the Sanskrit scholar J.W. Howard, who talks about being the most important phase of the Indo-Germanic religious history. He's saying here, spirit, spirit in the Gita. Here, spirit is at work. In other words, God is at work that belongs to our spirit. think this, yeah, he states the central message of the Gita in these words. So we're not here to solve the meaning of life, but to find out the deed demanded of us, our calling, and to work. And so by action to master the riddle of life. And yet, however, the Gita does it contain a message, hmm, a message of life, hmm, a message of action on a philosophy of life. Basis, no, no, the Gita bases its message of action on a philosophy of life. The message of action, I would say, has to do with karma, action, and dharma. Dharma is like what you're supposed to do. It, you're, it's your nature to do. Mhm. Like if you're a cow, be a cow. If you're a human, be a human, etc. Let's see. So I was reading meditations mm, by Marcus Aurelius the other day in a group. I think we're looking at book 10, somewhere around 22nd through 28th verses, or whatever you call them. There was some talk about this. Well, not this exactly, but something to the effect of that in nature, every object and every being has sort of been programmed to be what they are. However, it was done, and so we have to sort of realize this, accept this. And he was talking a little bit about impermanence, death, and birth. Anyway, when I read it, it reminded me of the Dharma, or the duty, or why is it there? We have to figure out why something is there. Why is it the way it is? So that's what Dharma is about in this philosophy. In Buddhism, Dharma is often thought of as the teachings of the Buddha. Sometimes it's thought of as the phenomena. When it's lowercase d, it's phenomena, things arising, dharmas. Mm, But and it's usually mostly mental things arising. Well, they may have a physical component to it that we can infer. But yes, even our thoughts could be dharmas. Yes. Anyway, so I was going to, yes, continue. Let me go back a little bit. The Gita, however, bases its message of action on a philosophy of life. It requires to know the meaning of life before we engage in action. That's interesting. That is really interesting. It requires to know the meaning of life before we engage in action. So I'll be attentive to that. Does the Gita define the meaning of life before we get down to business, before we become practical? Uh, in other words, can we, in a philosophical religious work, go about doing something practical without knowing the meaning of life. Like say the Bible. So when we read the Bible, can we get something out of it without having in the background, we call it an axiom or first principles, having the meaning of life squared away in our mind. Can we can we function without having a meaning of life? Hmm. I mean, when we're reading a text, a religious text, or even a philosophical text, a Stoic text, and we want to extract some meaning, no, not some meaning, but some practicality out of it, something that we can use in our life. Do we have to have a meaning of life first? Or do we go about it keeping our own meaning? Perhaps we each have already decided what the meaning of life is. and we're yes, we go about we haven't like written it out yet. Maybe we subconsciously have it already. Maybe we subconsciously operate with a certain meaning of life attitude, even if we can't express it. There's a meaning to our life, and so the meaning, let's say, the meaning is I want to always be happy and not suffer. Maybe that's the meaning. Why? Why do you want to do that? Well, I'm not sure, but if I do whatever I do to make me happy, then maybe that's good enough. It's meaningful. I don't know. As long as it makes me happy, hmm follow your bliss. I don't know. Or or is a meaning of life statement you it, need to go further than that. Like my meaning of life is that I want to save the world. No, is that a meaning? Well, I guess it would make life meaningful if you do everything that you do in order to save the world. It seems so incredibly outrageous or impossible to dream the impossible dream. So, and also so altruistic because saving the world could involve ending one's life. And then what happens? Would would having such a vow to save the world involve ending one's life? So perhaps because Jesus' life was ended so ungracefully, they imputed a meaning of life to his ending. And not only that, they added that he conquered death, resuscitated, and went to heaven. So that's incredible. So it's so incredible that you have to have faith in it that it happened so in such a way. And if you don't accept that, then you're not a Christian. Who cares about the values? That as long as you accept that, then you're a Christian. You don't have to necessarily follow. Well, you can try to follow the maxims, the Mhm. Precepts, Christian precepts. Does Christianity have something like equivalent to the five precepts? Well, there's the Ten Commandments. Is that close? Well, there's the Golden Rule, and there's the love your enemies, and there's what is it? Mhm. Show the other cheek when you get slapped, things like that. Okay, but anyway, just thinking about this was interesting. Hmm. Let's go on and read a little more. So let's go back to. Well, let's read it again. He is talking about the scholar J.W. Howard. He states the central message of the Gita in these words: We are not called to solve the meaning of life, but to find out the deed in capital D demanded of us and to work. And so, by action, to master the riddle of life. That's quoted in the Hibbert Journal, April 1940, page 341. Whew, that's a big journal. The Gita, however, bases its message of action on a philosophy of life. It requires us to know the meaning of life before we engage in action. It does not advocate a fanatical devotion to the practical, to the disparagement of the dignity of thought. Mhm. Its philosophy of the practical is a derivative from its philosophy of spirit, Brahma Vidya, Gata Karma Yoga Shastra. Hmm. Ethical action is derived from metaphysical realization. Wow, that's an interesting idea for further exploration. So, S, it must be Shankaracharya, Charya Shankar, urges that the essential purpose of the Gita is to teach us a way out of bondage and not merely enjoin action. So come these so come ha di samsara karman ni vrityartam kita shastram na pravartakam. And then Aldous Huxley, that's a footnote that maybe, oh, it's part of this second page. So let's not read that. Let's go back here and sort of read the first paragraph again. The importance of the work. The Bhagavad Gita is more a religious classic than a philosophical treatise. It is not an esoteric work designed for and understood as a specially form which helps even those who wander in the region of the many and variable. It gives us, it gives utterance to the aspirations of the pilgrims of all sects who seek to tread the inner way to the city of God. We touch reality more deeply, where men struggle, fail, and triumph. Millions of Hindus for centuries have found comfort in this great book, which sets forth in precise and penetrating words words, the essential principles of a spiritual religion, which are not contingent on ill-founded facts and scientific dogmas or arbitrary fancies. With a long history of spiritual power, it serves even today as a light to all who will receive illumination from the profundity of its wisdom, which insists on a world wider and deeper than wars and revolutions can touch. Hmm. It is a powerful shaping factor in the renewal of spiritual life and has secured an assured place among the world's great scriptures. The teaching of the Gita is not presented as a metaphysical system thought out by an individual thinker or a school of thinkers. It is set forth as a tradition which has emerged from the religious life of mankind. It is articulated by a profound seer who sees truth in its many sidedness and believes in its saving power. It represents not any sect of Hinduism, but Hinduism as a whole. Not merely Hinduism, but religion as such, in its universality, without limit of time or space. Wow. And then Aldous Huxley says the Gita is one of the clearest and most comprehensive summaries of the perennial philosophy ever have been made. Hence, its enduring value not only for Indians but for all mankind. Bhagavad Gita is perhaps the most systematic spiritual statement of the perennial philosophy that's found in the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita by Swami Prabhavananda and Christopher Isherwood. Oh, I may have that one too. Hmm. Oh, page 3. Hmm. Let's see. It represents not any sect of Hinduism, but Hinduism as a whole. Not merely Hinduism, but religion as such, in its universality, without limit of time and space, comma. And that's where I went to read the footnote. Huxley, embracing within its synthesis the whole gamut of the human spirit, from the crude fetishism of the savage to the creative affirmations of the spirit. No, of the saint. I didn't. I didn't read the word. I saw the letter S, and I said, "Oh, that must be spirit." The suggestions set forth in the Gita about the meaning and value of existence, the sense of eternal values, and the way in which the ultimate mysteries are illumined by the light of reason and moral intuition provide the basis for agreement in mind and spirit, so very essential for keeping together the world which has become materially one by the universal acceptance of the externals of civilization. Hmm. So what do you think of that? Well, let's 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 finish off this introduction. Let's say we got to the beginning of the third page. There's about 90 pages to the introduction, incredibly, or maybe more. Yeah, so it's a lengthy introductory essay. So far, it's looking pretty good. That's by S. Radhakrishnan. Let's see if I can pull up the book. Well, I don't think they have it in Kindle. But when I type in Bhagavad Gita, S. Radha Krishnan. Let's see what it gets. Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita by S. Radhakrishnan. Oh, you can find it at archive.org. Right, there it is. Mhm. Let's see. So it was first published, 1948. Oh, I was wrong. I thought it was 100 years old. Maybe I'm thinking about some other book. Hmm. 1949, second edition. So it's less than 100 years old. It's got a preface and let's see, introductory essay. Yep, this is what I was reading. I took pictures of the actual book. So the introductory essay starts at page 11, and then chapter 1 is on page 79. So actually, I was wrong to say it's 90 pages. It's more like 68 pages long. So it's not that bad. Not 90, but 68 or so pages long. So that's good. So now let's go inside. Now I'm going to disconnect from, well, maybe I could save the copy link and maybe go to, let's see, go to Zoom. Hmm. I can paste it in the chat in case somebody's watching. But let's see. Well, I mean, in case somebody's on Zoom. No, nobody's on Zoom anyway. Yeah, let's see. Go back to, let's see, go to, see if I can go to this. Yeah, okay. So maybe I can, hmm, hmm, see, where can I? Hmm, wait a minute. Maybe I could go to YouTube. Yeah, okay. I'll go to YouTube. YouTube, and then I go to, let's see if I can go to, let's see if I can go to videos. Oh, let's see. Hmm, hmm, view channel for videos, movies. Let's see if I go home. Someone's showing this shorts, referral, podcast, consciousness, music. Let's see, wake up, think clearly. It. You might not subscribe to it. I'll subscribe to it. Oh, there it is. I'm going live. Yeah, so I can type in. Here's the book that Bhagavad Gita is the Krishna. Is the program archive. ¿El qué? No. Mm, let's see. Okay. Mhm. See if I can. Uh, ah, okay, okay. Okay. So I guess I can share. See, see, see. Okay. Mm, mm, see. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing. Oh, I hope somebody likes it. Hmm. I thought it was pretty good. I don't know. Hmm, it was just me reading and reacting to what I'm reading a little bit. Book the Bhagavad Gita, translated and commentated by S. Radhakrishnan, from 1948. Several other, or initially 1948, but several publications. See, wait a minute. Let me see. Several versions, maybe. Let's see. Wait a second. Let me see what's. So, wow, it had seven. No, it had. It's like five editions, or maybe publications or impressions. Another reprinted. So it went through a second edition, after only a year or so. Yeah, it was originally published in 1948, but it went to a second edition a year later, and then it went through several impressions, printings till 1963. Okay, so I'm not sure what S means. S, S Radhakrishnan. Mhm. Not that I should. Oh, okay. Mm. The Bhagavad Gita by Nataraj Guru. Hmm. That might be a good one. Is it the same? Yes, it's a good one. I'm going to share that one. No, no. Oh, Nataraj Guru. So I can go like this, copy link, and maybe go back to this one. Oh, shoot. Check this. Uh, hmm. Hmm. Let's see. Yeah. It's all right. Let's see. Okay. Okay. So let's see. Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to end this meeting. May it benefit somebody out there. She could be good enough to benefit all sentient beings.